My name is Tomokazu Matsuyama. I'm a painter. Also, occasionally I do installations and sculpture. I'm a New York-based artist. Originally I was from Japan, Tokyo. I've lived in New York for about 7 years. I was brought up in Japan, very old part, and then in the age of 9 I had to move in Los Angeles, and coming out from Japan, middle of nowhere, in a mountain range, that was a whole big shock. After that I went back to Japan, but that time to the big metropolis Tokyo. Back then it was kind of weird for me to adapt to Japan again, because being so young in the United States, I kind of became an American kid. So it was really hard for me to find who I really was, because I never really belonged to anywhere. And from that I decided to kind of put that into a dialogue to create a new work. But rather, instead of just trying to put a very personal dialogue into painting to kind of visualize my life memoir, I wanted to keep it a little bit more universal or subjective. So what I decided to do was, first and foremost, I was interested in kind of a traditional folklore art, and I brought the traditional Japanese art and remodified that with a Western sensibility, which are adding a palette of kind of a Disney's color scheme and making it a little bit more graphical, and translating that into a contemporary context. I like to create that kind of organic chaos, so my painting will kind of show the diversity of who we are. Especially living in New York, we're so different, and that's what I'm trying to portray with my works. For this exhibition in specific, I titled the show Glancing at the Twin Peak. What this show indicates is I chose two very important artwork. One is from Japan, which is from the school of Kano, a very famous painting by Santoku Kano. That would be the very big painting you see in the gallery. The work was created in the 18th century, where they were chasing a dog, and whoever captured the dog becomes like the strongest man of the village. And it kind of portrayed what was happening in Japan back then. And the other work, which is my first sculpture piece, was kind of a reminiscence of a very important American painter and sculptor named Frederick Remington. It's one of his sculpture where a cowboy is doing a bronco buster, where a cowboy would have his hands up in the air and to compete how long a man could stay on top of a horse, to show how strong of a man you are. And by kind of bringing in those two, I wanted a mix of two cultures and mix of diversing aesthetics into one work to kind of diminish the boundary between what exists in two bipolars.